Today I'm really excited to make this dish. It's one of my absolute favorites. It's actually one of my wife's probably top 5 favorites. And it's a great dish to make during the week. It's one of my go-tos actually, because it's very fast, it's very simple, it's very inexpensive, and it's really based on a lot of pantry stuff. So if you got these ingredients in your pantry, you got a couple things in the fridge, you're ready to go. So it is Sausage con Polenta, otherwise known as sausage with polenta. So we've got a recipe for 4, which means 8 links. I'm using Italian sausage. I'm using mild. If you want to use the hot, you can use the hot. Tomato paste, my go-to garlic. I have 2 sliced onions. I'm using white and red because I had white and red. You can use yellow, you can use whatever you want, as long as there's 2 onions in there. Some fresh rosemary. Now you don't have to put the rosemary in there, but I do like it. White wine, because as usual, I don't know how to cook without white wine. And you need it for the acidity. Some parsley for the end, olive oil for sauteing. And then for the polenta, we've got polenta right here. Now, if you never made polenta before, I'm gonna do a whole episode on just polenta. It's coarse ground cornmeal, and it ends up becoming like a cornmeal mush. Butter, because life is better with butter. Parmigiano Reggiano, milk, some water, salt, and pepper. That's it. So, I don't know, let's get cooking because I'm hungry, I want dinner. So when I make this dish, I usually start with the sausage first and then the polenta. That way the sausages kind of sit there and get yummier while we do the polenta, because then once the polenta is done, you can serve it. So what I've got is a saute pan, and I've got it over medium heat. If you keep your heat medium and just let the sausages cook slowly, you'll get much more even browning. You do need enough oil, however, so that they don't stick. And there's no particular way of getting them in the pan. Just get them in so they fit. And remember, you can always adjust your heat, right? There's 2 ways to adjust your heat. Either with the knob or take it off the heat, right? Put it back on, take it off. Okay, now I use tongs. Say hello. Hi. Because you don't end up puncturing the sausage with a fork or something like that. Now see, they're starting to brown. You can control how fast it's browning when the temperature is lower. Now, you can see here, right, the casing has sort of given way, and this is due to the manufacturing process. Don't worry about it. If this is coming out, you know, squeezing out like here and here. See, this one is nice, right? It's holding its shape. They should all be like that, really. So if it doesn't, don't worry about it. Bing! If you don't like fennel sausage, you can make it with bratwurst. You can make it with other types of sausages. This is an Italian dish, so we're going to use Italian sausage. This is a nice browning right here. So now what you want to do is take these out. And you notice you got some stickies there, right? Just leave that. We're gonna put in our onion. And for the onion now, I'm gonna crank the heat up. I want to get some color on here. I want them to be at least somewhat, you know, light brown. I'm gonna add some salt to help them sweat. It helps bring the juices out, right? And you have all those natural sugars in the onion, so when they hit the hot pan, that's where you get your caramelization from. And the salt just helps that. Okay, now if you get some bits on here that kind of stick, just kind of scrape them up. Okay, I've been sauteing these for, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes or so. And you can see they've got some nice brown color on there. And they're limp. Once you hit that stage, and you need to hit that stage because you're building flavor. okay? If you rush this and you just put everything else in there and dump it all in, it's not gonna come out right. So you're building the flavor. So at this point, once your onions are there, now you can add the garlic, pre-chopped, I chop it, and then I put it in oil. I'm gonna call that a tablespoon and a half. And now, I'm gonna put in some fresh rosemary. You don't have to if you don't want to. The dish will still come out nice as is, but I kind of like a little fresh rosemary in mine. And this is also optional. Pepperoncini or red pepper flakes. I know I'm using mild sausage, but I kind of like the sauce to have a little bit of heat. So to taste, okay, I think I said about a half teaspoon in the recipe. By the way, if you want to cook along, or even if you don't want to cook along, but you want the recipe, you can download it. This is very important, this next step, okay? Tomato paste. Whenever you use tomato paste, put the tomato paste into the hot fat. I'm gonna call this a 1/4 cup. You always want to cook the tomato paste before you add liquid. You want to bring out the natural sugars in the tomato paste, tone down the acidic harshness in it, and you end up creating a more complex flavor by doing this. Vino. Kick it up to high. That's deglazing. Now you can use red wine if you want. I would not use a sweet wine. So a dry, nice dry white or red. Chicken stock. See if that's enough. We take these little guys and put them back. Now, if you see some juice and whatnot in there, don't throw that out. Don't throw that out. Dump it in there. It's flavor. You bring it up to a boil, but then once you put the sausage in there, you don't want to boil it because it will dry out the sausage. So now you reduce the heat to low. Cover it and let them take a little nap. And while they're taking a nap, we're gonna make the polenta. Okay, let's talk polenta just for a sec. Polenta is a cornmeal mush, and it's used for a lot of saucy, savory meats. If it's served with a meat, like it's usually on the thicker side, and if it's served with a fish, it's usually on the thinner side. Now, the reason I'm bringing it up is because of what I got in this pot. What I got in this pot is the milk and the water that I showed you earlier, and I have brought it up to the simmer. Not the boil, otherwise it just kind of goes all over the place, but up to a simmer, so it's at temperature. So I use milk and water. What you want to do is bring it to temperature over moderate heat, right? And before it starts to boil, just before it starts to boil, is when you want to start adding the polenta. So I kind of like to do it this way. And you don't have to really go itsy bitsy by itsy bitsy bit. Just put it in there, but whisk as you're going. As my grandmother would say, no lamp, no one, no little ball, no lamp. And I'm using a really good organic polenta, and it's cornmeal, right? But it's a coarse ground cornmeal. It's not the same cornmeal you would use to make cornbread. And when you look at polenta recipes, you will find that some recipes always say 1 to 3, right? It's always 1 to 3, 1 to 3, meaning 1 part polenta to 3 parts liquid, whatever your liquid is. Other recipes will say, well, it's 1 to 4. I've actually seen recipes that are 1 to 5, and I've done them all. Try it, 1 to 4. I got 2 cups of polenta in here. You see it's starting to bubble, okay? And you're like, well, it's too loose. Well, it's not done yet, okay? You have to keep it going. You have to keep it going until it reaches just before the consistency you're looking for. Reason being, you're gonna add this other stuff to it, and that's traditional, Parmesan and butter. For this dish, you really just need the butter, and you gotta put butter in there. I mean, I'm sorry. It's a flavoring ingredient. And the Parmesan. And use a really good Parmesan, Parmigiano Reggiano, because there's just 3 things here that are gonna give you your flavor. The polenta, the butter, and the cheese. This is the texture you're looking for, okay? For our purposes today. So once you get to that point, turn it off. Life is better with butter. I know it looks like a lot, but this is gonna serve more than 4 people. Good quality butter. Stir that in there. You put butter on corn, right? Parmigiano Reggiano. And I am going to call that 1 cup. Now this is freshly grated, okay? I didn't get it pre-grated, which is a completely other animal. If you get the pre-grated from the store, be aware of the texture of it. Some of them are actually ground up and it looks more like, I don't know, coarse sand. And now that you've added all that stuff in there, okay, see how it takes a little longer to come off the whisk? That's what you're looking for. I'm gonna taste it because now I wanna see if I need to add more salt, because there's salt in the Parmesan, right? I'm not gonna say it, I'm gonna wait. But it does need a little salt. But I don't normally. Okay, once that is done, what you wanna do now is cover it and stick him over there. Just let him sit there. Let him be by himself. He wants to be by himself. He wants to contemplate before he's used. So this is important. Take the sausages out at this point. And the whole thing has been cooking for maybe 15 minutes. Okay? It doesn't take that long. Increase the heat to high because what you want to do now is reduce this. See, it's sort of thin, but we have the tomato paste in there, right? It'll thicken up. When that reaches the proper consistency, check it for salt and pepper, put the sausage back in there, and you're ready to go. So I'm gonna show you now how I plate it. You can plate it in a platter, or you can do it per person. I'm gonna do this per person. This is a great dish, by the way, for a big casual party, because you basically have 2 big containers of food, and it feeds a lot of people. Here's the polenta. See how it thickens up? You just let it sit over there, do its thing. And that, for me, is the perfect consistency for sausage or a stew or a ragu or something like that. So I'm gonna spread this out. And then you don't have to do this, but I'm gonna make a little well in the center for all that sauce. If you like sauce. And there's the sausage. I'm gonna put 2 right there. Let me get a nice looking one. Some sauce. See, it's just perfectly thickened. It's not too runny and it's not overly thick. There you go. And if you want, you can then put a bit of Parmesan on top and a little bit of rosemary. And you can leave it like that. I like to put a little bit of pepper and maybe a little bit of Italian parsley. There you go. Salsiccia con polenta, or sausage with polenta. Please like the video, because I like you. Subscribe, ring that little bell so that way you get notified whenever we have another one out there. And please comment and let me know if you try it and what you think. Until next time, damn, that's good.